Imagine a sophisticated symphony orchestra where the conductor acts as the master of real-time, multi-layered decision-making. Each section represents a drone type or scenario, with violins symbolizing lightweight, agile drones and tubas representing heavier, slower models. The conductor's baton, akin to the DRONET framework, coordinates these sections to produce harmonious music, reflecting the orchestration of aerial surveillance and safety tasks. Setup. The conductor must identify and manage individual instrument sections, akin to DRONET detecting and classifying drones and determining threats. A violinist's fast-paced notes are like detecting agile drones, while the deep, resonant tuba notes mirror recognizing larger, possibly harmful drones. Action. As the conductor uses cues to navigate through a complex score, DRONET processes real-time data, employing convolutional neural networks to analyze drone paths and attached objects, akin to differentiating between the melody, benign drones, and discordant notes, threatening drones. Result: the orchestra delivers a seamless performance, much like how DRONET ensures real-time surveillance, accurately identifying and neutralizing threats before they disrupt the industrial flow. This analogy predicts DRONET's behavior by illustrating how it dynamically balances multiple tasks, prioritizes responses, and adapts to changing airspace threats, much like a conductor adjusts to the nuances in a live performance. This is where the DRONET framework comes on board to guarantee real-time industrial facility surveillance, safety, and security from aerial attacks. Am I the only one that didn't know anti-drone systems could be as the eyes, as the ears, as the early warning system for an entire industrial site? Am I the only one that didn't know we could get real-time safety insights without tying up human teams? Am I the only one that didn't know this is already happening? Problem first. Blind spots, slow incident detection, costly inspections. Enter DRONET, a multitasking framework that fuses aerial perception, anomaly detection, task scheduling into one real-time system. It runs on lightweight AI object detection models, coordinates multiple drones to check if a drone flying in the air and the attached objects do not pose a security threat to an industrial facility. DRONET prioritizes what needs attention now, not later. The proof? Tested on real facility and robust data called the Visiodect, DRONET cut detection delays, improved coverage with fast detection time, kept processing on board for speed and privacy. Translation: faster alerts, reliable feedbacks, fewer missed hazards, less strain on ops teams. If you're responsible for safety or uptime, this isn't just cool tech, it's a force multiplier. DRONET is the future for safe and trustworthy aerial mobility. You want to know about DRONET? Click the link to get the full paper or ping me. Let's make facilities safer, smarter, and a lot less stressful.
Thanks so much for joining me. Today I've got a super intriguing paper to unpack, one that grapples with drones, industrial facilities, and, well, how we keep everything safe as our skies get a little more crowded every year. By the way, just a quick note before we dive in. As always, I'll be presenting the paper neutrally. My goal is to share the findings. So today we're talking about a paper by Simeon Okechukwu Ajakwe, along with Vivian Ukamaka, Ihekaronye, Dongseong Kim, and Jaemin Lee. It's called DRONET, 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 Multitasking Framework for... Let's start with the big question, or the core problem this paper tries to tackle. What happens when all sorts of drones, delivery drones, hobby drones, and yes, maybe even malicious drones, start showing up around places like power plants, factories, or other critical infrastructure? The main challenge is that current anti-drone systems mostly just try to spot drones, but they don't reliably figure out what the drone is carrying, which is, well, kind of a huge deal. If you're protecting an industrial site, shouldn't you care not just about the drone, but if it's got a paintball, a box, or let's say something a lot more worrying? So, why is this significant? Well, drones aren't only cool gadgets delivering snacks, they're being used for all kinds of things, both good and bad. Sometimes they just drop off packages for people, but in unfortunate cases, they can carry risky stuff. like surveillance devices or even weapons, into areas where they shouldn't be, that can be a real threat to infrastructure or even public safety. Enter the solution proposed by Ajakwe and the team, a vision-based multitasking anti-drone framework called DRONET. Now, their idea is that an advanced system shouldn't just say, hey, I see something flying. Instead, it needs to do more. It should identify what the drone is, what it's carrying, how much of a threat it poses, and basically decide the next move, all in real time. That's ambitious, right? How do they go about this? The authors developed a deep learning model, a kind of neural network, if you like, that can spot not only a bunch of different drone models, but also identify visually what's attached to them. This is important because a drone carrying a soda can isn't the same as one with, say, a suspicious package. They gathered a pretty robust data set, over 5,400 drone images from 6 types of drones under different lighting conditions: sunny, cloudy, and evening. They even tested on more than 1,700 images of airborne objects like weapons or secret cameras attached to drones in all sorts of tricky scenarios: blur, low lighting, far away, all that stuff. And if you're thinking, did they just run this through one algorithm and call it a day? Nope. They compared their model with 7 other leading object detection techniques for things like accuracy, sensitivity, speed, and so on. Okay, so what did they find? DRONET, their proposed model, pulled off multi-drone detection accuracy of 99.6%. And for identifying whatever's attached to the drone, it scored even higher. Sensitivity was about 99.8%. Latency was super low, meaning decisions can be made quickly, with very little delay. They claim this outperformed most of the other models they tested in both accuracy and reliability. But what does this actually mean for you, the listener? Whether you're in tech, security, or just curious about how AI is being used in the real world, it shows there is rapid progress in making these systems smarter and more adaptive. The potential is that industrial sites, airports, or even, I don't know, maybe sports stadiums could use this sort of tech to not just spot a drone, but immediately assess if it's a real threat or just a kid's toy accidentally drifting over the fence. That could change how quickly people respond, and crucially, help them not overreact, which sometimes happens with false alarms. Now, just to circle back for a second, I'm not here to say this is the future, full stop. All research is a step in a conversation. Datasets might not cover every weird real-world scenario, and detecting hidden or camouflaged objects on a moving drone is still a huge challenge. And there are always privacy considerations, right? What protocols should be in place so we're not just surveilling everything for the sake of it? Just something to chew on. Actually, speaking of drones, I once saw someone try to use a drone to walk their dog. I have absolutely no idea if that's relevant, but it did make me wonder if we're really ready to share the sky with all these things zooming about. Anyway, back to DRONET. So, key insights for you. The paper suggests that combining visual object recognition with real-time decision-making could make drone defense smarter and more nuanced. It moves us beyond shoot down everything to let's check what's actually going on. For anyone working on security infrastructure or even urban planning, it's a model to consider, though as with all research, it's something to explore and reflect on, not blindly implement. Alright, that's our deep dive for today.